Hi, Matt. Thanks for taking my call today. So, from our conversation, it sounded like you were pretty well versed in marketing and SEO. So, I apologize if some of this is more like a recap for you, but I just wanted to start from ground zero just so you can see my approach to marketing. So, there's two different sides of this. The first is a on-site SEO. So, I've got your website pulled up here. Certain things we want to look for is that the site has its own title and description, which it does. That's great. As far as the pictures, Google doesn't really care too much about the picture content itself. It's just looking to make sure that it can crawl the image title. So it's good that we have them labeled and they're not like random numbers, MMG, whatever comes off the cell phone or the camera that takes them. It looks like all of them are labeled, so that's great. And then what it's going to do is Google is going to come in and just count all the word on the page for the content. Generally speaking, it likes to see about 1,000 to 1,500 words per page. It assumes that the more text you have, the more of an expert you are on your subject. Now, while it's counting the number of words, it's also looking for keywords. So, as you know, it's going to be anything that somebody's going to type into Google search. Usually it's going to be like a product or a service that you offer, and then your location. So this is really where the number of words on the page comes into play, because you're only allowed to have one keyword for every 100 to 150 words of text. So if we want you to be found for more keywords, we might have to add a little bit of text here and there. My suggestion probably would be with some of these menus, even these up here, we can still make them clickable, but maybe add a brief description on this page plus having it clickable, so we can get a couple more paragraphs of text here. And then the same thing down here, we can just kind of fluff this up with adding a little bit more, so that way we can sprinkle in a few extra keywords here and there. Now, the second side of SEO is what's called off-page. Now, that is basically building authority for the website, which is predominantly just a popularity contest. So there's two different ways to build that authority. One is going to be with citations. That's anytime that your name, address, and phone number are listed in a directory like Yelp, Yellow Pages, Better Business Bureau, things like that. Those are usually all free listing services. It just takes some time to find them, register, and then fill out all the information. We just want to make sure that it's exactly the same way that it's shown in Google. The second part of building authority is with what's called backlinks. That's when other websites link or refer back to yours, and they act as an endorsement for Google to build trust when others are vouching for you. Kind of like a customer review, except with other websites. Looking at your rank, you guys are in the map pack, which is great. That means you probably have your Google business profile filled out. To optimize this a little bit more to probably get you up into the top spot, we just want to make sure every part of that profile is filled out as much as possible. You can probably try to get a few more reviews. We should be getting images that are geotagged inside your service area, and we can upload those as well as posting. And then trying to get as many of those citations as possible. If you have more directory listings for your business than anybody else in here, that should also help kind of bump you to the top. So now if we take a look behind the scenes here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take your website, and there's this paid tool that I use that basically shows me all the things that Google finds when it crawls your site for your content, and then the authority that it assigns to it based on all those referring domains or referring websites that are backlinking back to you. So for instance, if there was let's say a news article written for, top 5 CBD stores in Rhode Island, and then in that article there was a clickable link that the reader could click on and it would bring them to your website, that would be one backlink from one referring domain. So we were talking today on the phone about seeing tangible results. This is where I can see what needs to happen, how far we need to go, and then we can also track the progress to make sure that you're getting there. So in order to do that, I also take the other competitors. This is the one that's on top of you in the map pack. You can see they've got a few more referring domains that are pushing some more authority to their website. Keywords, obviously not as many. So it's all about the power and the authority of the website that pushes it up in ranking. And then this is the company that was below you. So there's a little bit of a gap there. So I don't think you're in any danger of them overtaking you at any point in the immediate future, unless they do some kind of crazy campaign. But this is basically where we need to work on, so that way you can overtake them and have more authority on your website. Now, it's also important to note here that it's not just a matter of quantity, it's also all about the quality of the link coming back to you. So for instance, if we had like Pizza Hut linking back to your website, Google knows obviously you're not in the business of making pizzas, so that wouldn't add any authority. So the key here is to get referring domains or referring websites that are within your genre and niche, so that they would add authority and help you to create more authority rather than just adding an empty link. So a lot of marketing companies will just dump a whole lot of links into your site, but they'll just add up numbers, but they won't actually create any more authority. Now, another thing to note here is that not all links are permanent. In fact, most of them are not. At some point in time, they will fall off. So as you can see here, like we had a whole lot of links that jumped up and they didn't last very long. They fell off. And it's kind of like in a roller coaster where you'll get some links and then some old ones will fall off. So keeping up on backlinking is very important. Rather than just dumping a whole lot in there, you need to keep up and continuously refresh them. And then obviously getting sites where they try to stay on there as long as possible. A lot of blog sites and everything will sell you a spot where you can make a blog post or a guest post and then have a link back to your site. And they might take it down and sell it to somebody else, anywhere from a few weeks to a few months later. So we want to try to find high quality sites that will stay up, so that way these links will remain as permanent as possible, and then continuously watch them. So as some of the old ones fall off, we're making sure we're getting new ones so that we're still maintaining that constant upward trend all the time. As far as the content is concerned, you guys are doing pretty good on keywords. Yeah, I mean, you're dominating on keywords. So what we usually do here is we just do a double check of all the high volume keywords, the number of times per month they're being searched. This is obviously a national keyword because there's no location attached to it, so that's why the volume is so high. As soon as it's attached to a actual location, you can see where it drops down to a normal range. So same thing, this is a national keyword. We would just search all the keywords that you have on your site, any other ones that your competitors have that might be of a high volume, and then maybe that's where, if we decided to add some text in here, we could sprinkle in a few extra keywords. Having a blog post is a fantastic way to get a whole lot more content on the site, because you can basically write whatever you want. So we can have an entire blog post just for one keyword and then make different posts for different words, so that way you can be adding both content to the site, so that way Google's seeing more and more words, and then also you'll be ranking for more and more keywords. That way we can just try to capture as much of the market as possible when anybody's making a search. So I hope this was all informational for you. Like I said, it might have been a lot of recapping, but I am all about being transparent, so that way you see exactly what you need and then see exactly what you're getting, so we can continuously track that over the next few months or so, because you can't just dump a whole bunch of links onto the site. So say, what we need to almost double, a little bit more than double your links. If we were to try to do that all in 1 week, Google would recognize that as saying, hey, how is it possible that you got 150 links basically overnight, and it would recognize that as spam, and then we would actually get penalized for it. So this is definitely a long game. It's not a very long game, but it's a slower process where it's going to take weeks to months to slowly dump on there 10, 20, 30 at a time until we're up over this number, and then you're just dominating in authority. And then we just continue that same ramp all the way up, just so that way we can make sure that nobody else can catch up to you, and then you guys are always in the top spot. So I appreciate your time. I'd love to talk to you further about anything. If you got some questions, when your business partner gets back, if you guys want to go over things, maybe we can hop on a three-way call and we can talk about where you guys want to be, some goals, and I can do some research to figure out how to get you guys there. I also appreciate any kind of feedback you might have, and feel free to reach out to me whenever you need. Thank you.